All right, so we are here today to go through the assembly of the new Sports Imports portable pickleball net system. When you receive the products at your location, it's going to come in 3 packages. Each will be labeled 1, 2, and 3. Before we get started, you are going to need a few tools to help with the assembly of the product. A box cutter to open up the packages, 2 adjustable wrenches, or if available, an 18 millimeter and a 24 millimeter socket wrench. As you can see here, we've opened up all 3 of the boxes. The next step will be to remove the bubble wrap from each piece. We do recommend keeping the pieces from each box kind of in the same area after you've done so to help with the assembly. And now you can see that we've removed all the bubble wrap from each of the individual pieces. We've still kept the pieces somewhat contained from each box, so you can see where they're all laid out. Once this is completed, you are ready to begin assembly of the net system. Now that we have everything removed from the boxes, we're going to begin step 1 of the assembly process. You're going to have one of the corner base frames as well as one of the stabilizing legs. You're also going to need the 2 5 1/8 18 millimeter hex bolts through here. These will be in this hardware bag, removed from all of the other bolts, so please keep that in mind when looking for these. We're going to go ahead and begin the assembly. You're going to move the stabilizer leg and you're going to put that under this part here, and it goes towards the actual 90-degree angle of the platform. You'll take the bolt, remove the nut. You'll have the locking washer on one side and insert this through here. And then that's going to come through the other side. You'll also then put the nut and the washer on the opposite side and tighten. You'll be using your adjustable wrench along with the 18 millimeter socket wrench. If you do not have the 18 millimeter socket wrench, you can use 2 of these on either side. Now that we have attached the base frame, the stabilizer legs to the base frame and duplicated that for the opposite side of the court, we're ready to move on to step 2, which is adding the mobile wheel legs to the base frame. You're going to need the longest of the hardware that's assembled. It's the 24 millimeter bolt. You're going to take this. You're going to take your wheel frame here with the wheels going out back away from this. In the farthest hole here, you'll insert this through to the other side. You'll see here that both the nut heads are on the same side. We encourage you to repeat this all the way through for consistency throughout the product. Now that you've completed assembling both of the corner pieces with the wheels attached, you're going to move on to adding the center base section. You're going to take one of the connecting base pieces and you'll bring this over here starting from left to right. You'll want to align these so that your bolts can then go through both of the 2 holes. Again, keeping in mind your bolt head is on the same side consistently throughout this lower section. Now that we've completed tightening the bolts to the lower section there, we are going to bring one of the center bushing connectors. We are going to bring the 2 and line up the holes and then tighten with the 18 millimeter bolts. Now that you've attached one side of the bushing with the bolts through the holes here, you're going to line up your center connecting piece. That's going to be distinct because it's going to have the Sports Imports label in the center of it. You'll take this, insert this so that the holes line up, and then assemble with the bolts. Now that you've completed the lower left section of the lower base frame, you're going to just continue to repeat that process on the bottom right-hand side of the net system. Now that the lower section is completed, you're going to take the non-ratcheted upright, bring that over and insert that into the corner section of the base system with the Sports Imports logo facing out, away from the court. You will also need 4 of these hex screws that are going to go inserted on either side of the pole. The Allen wrench that is needed to tighten these up is also supplied in the same bag. Now that both uprights are securely fastened into the lower base frame of the net system, you're going to need the following components: the net eye loop, 2 of the lift handles, 2 of the set screws, and again, the provided Allen wrench. You'll want to begin by inserting the net eye loop into the screw here at the upper part of the upright. You'll loosen the nut first slightly, and then go ahead and then tighten the eye loop into the pole. Once that is done, you're going to take one of the provided lifts or handles. You want to bring this up, the handle, so that it is just under the Sports Imports logo. You'll go ahead and tighten that up and secure so that that collar does not slide anymore. You'll repeat the process on the opposite side. Now that both handles are tight, you're going to finalize this by using the set screws, both that are going to be towards the net and away from the net, and tighten those with the provided Allen wrench. Now that the lower base frame and the uprights are completely assembled, you're ready to move on to the last step of the process, which is assembling the net or attaching that to the net system itself. The net is going to come in this bag along with all of its components. Your first step is to unzip the bag and then go ahead, take the net out, and you're going to lay this out along the full length of your net system. Now that you've laid your net out across the court, you do want to make sure that the factory formed loop is going to be towards the upright that does not have the net ratchet on it. You're going to take one of the fiberglass dowel rods, insert this into the end of the net, and then you're going to repeat this process for the opposite side. Now that the dowel rods are into the net, you're going to move on to the next step, which is attaching the crank handle to the net ratchet. You will need a flathead screwdriver. You'll loosen the screw. Take the handle, put that over, and then put the screw back in. You will want to make sure that this is secured tightly so that the handle stays on. Now that the crank handle is attached to the net ratchet, you're going to take a Phillips head screwdriver and loosen the screw within the net ratchet. When you do this, you want to make sure that you only loosen it and do not remove the screw from the inner spindle. Now that the ratchet assembly is complete, you're going to go to the opposite post with the cord on the net that has the factory formed eye loop. You're going to take the cord, go over the pulley wheel, attach that to the hook. With the assistance of somebody else, now that the net is going to be pulled, you're going to pull the net back so that it is centered onto your court, so that when you complete the next step of tightening the net does not get pulled into the ratchet. Now, before we begin the next step, you do want to make sure that the wheels are not on the ground and that the base of the net system itself is laying flat on the ground. You're going to take the tail end of the upper cord. You'll take that over the pulley wheel. You are now going to insert that tail end into the loop or the hole that's in your net ratchet. With your Phillips head screwdriver, you're going to tighten that up so that the cord is held in its place. Once that is done, you're going to go ahead and proceed to tighten your net. Now that the net has been tightened, you want to take a tape measure and confirm the center net height of 34 inches. We do recommend that you do not tighten the net beyond 35 inches for longevity of the net and the net system itself. Once that's been confirmed, you're going to go to the upper and lower corners of each side of the net with the provided zip ties, and you'll attach the net to those corners. Once the zip ties have been tightened, you can go ahead and cut off the excess with scissors. Optionally, you can put on the center net strap of the net. Once everything is completed, the net system is done and ready for play.